Hello and welcome to another one of those videos where I talk about updates on the Steam version of Dwarf Fortress coming from Toady and KitFox. It's time for another one of Tarn's big videos. This is for the spring update, and this is a huge fortress footage that Tarn Adams has put together, assuming with him and his brother, who does the majority of the testing. And so this is a video that is on the KitFox YouTube channel. A link will be in the description and in the comments and all of that. If you want to just watch the original video, I'm just going to be picking out some things that I think are particularly interesting, and we will be talking about them. Thank you very much for watching this video, and of course, please, if you would like to get these updates directly in your email from KitFox, you can find that down in the description with their email notifier sign up thingy. Newsletter, that's what it's called. English is hard. Good morning. Let's get on with the video.
Fortress that Zach has been working on, the co-founder of Bay 12 Games. And he's got a fishery outside there with his... there have been a lot of turtles. Went through that fishery. We've got animals pastured outside and so forth. And you can see the different underground grasses that have come up now that the spores have been released.
One of the first things I'd like to bring up here is, wow, I'm really enjoying kind of the ambientness of the music. I very much am excited about having an actual soundtrack for Dwarf Fortress. Anybody who's been watching my videos for a while will know that that is one of the things that I'm the most excited about. And I really like the sounds that are going on behind Tarn talking here. I think that they're very exciting sounding. But the thing that is really cool here is actually the spore grasses. So he mentioned them briefly, but the spores have been released. So now we're getting those multicolored tiles on the ground. Now, normally they're a lot in the vanilla ASCII version, they're a lot brighter and a lot more, I think, immediately noticeable and a lot more varied in individual tiles, mostly because you have the sheer black background and then just a few small specks for each ASCII tile, making the ground bits look super bright and colorful and varied. I think that these look a little bit too toned down for me personally, although it's really nice to actually see them. I kind of wish that they were brighter, but I'm sure there's more that we could do with that. I always imagine the spore grass to be literal mushrooms coming out of the ground instead of just here's a different color patch, but it looks cool. I like them.
And we have a nice little hatch cover there. There's the new building interface. We can place jobs in there and so forth. Let's go down into the fortress. Got nice wood flooring here. Here's a kind of typical area with a bunch of stored objects and workshops.
The more of this I'm watching, the more I'm realizing I could do 15 videos out of this thing. But here I have this big kind of open area filled with a bunch of workshops that I don't believe we've seen before. We have a stockpile of different ores over there in the top right, food and other things over in barrels and furniture, I'm assuming, over in the top left. And I'm loving the way that this is looking, frankly. It's really nice to just see the game running. I can't really stress that enough. Just, it's been 2 years since the initial announcement for the Steam version of Dwarf Fortress, and about a year of time that I think Tarn's been heavily working on it. So it's just really nice to kind of get a actual literal idea of how far along Steam Dwarf Fortress is. I'm very curious to kind of see adventure mode at some point, but all of these fortress mode updates are really, really nice.
Shops. Dwarves running around, grabbing things that they need, and the cats that follow them. Deeper down, we have more workshops and some accidental water that needed to be blocked off when the aquifer was released into the fortress. And here's the living arrangement. So let's look at the zones here. We have all of these little bedrooms that have been placed now with the new zone placement that I'll show you in a bit. I've got spouses in the room there. Some cabinet bleed through. It should actually be showing the buildings, but we're still working on that part. And so you can assign dwarves there. Most of the dwarf pictures are working, but whenever they hold something right now, it shows the tip of the weapon instead of the dwarf. But we'll fix all that up.
Whoa, hold up. Look at this. So this is brand new. We've never seen this before. So this is actually assigning dwarves to the zone. So I'm assuming this is assigning dwarves to the bedroom zone, but this is also going to work for other things. This is really cool, actually. And it's going to show you what's in the room on the left, and then give you the option to select from any of the dwarves up there. That's going to be really quick to just kind of pop through. I'm really curious to see how this is going to work with hotkeys, assuming it's going to work with hotkeys. I've been kind of just working under the assumption, more or less, that hotkeys are still going to be an option for all these things, at least the original hotkeys. I don't really care so much if they change the hotkeys, but I'm curious to see how this plays on a keyboard. That being said, this looks really neat, and I really like this little UI. Then in the next screen grab I have from the video, we have a temple and a meeting hall and all of that jazz. The temple, of course, being the big unfinished building on the left, is only half completed and still getting smoothed and worked on. I kind of like seeing these fortresses sort of like in flux when they're like half built. You really get to see kind of the grime and grimy bits of the fortress itself. And the next screenshot that I have here actually is Tarn getting ready to talk about zoning actual tombs, which I'm just gonna let him take away here.
Got a big tomb on the right and all these little tombs up top. The coffins weren't filled on these yet. The tomb on the right here has a dwarf has been buried. Sadly, a miner did not survive the little accident. So let's just delete all these the unused tombs, though. So you can see the little coffins there that haven't been filled. And let's just place these now. You used to have to kind of place these one at a time, but now when you select the tomb, you can just go pop. It doesn't really have to be super accurate, just enclose the area, and now we've got 8 tombs created.
Just gotta rewind back through that a little bit and freeze this frame right here with the actual zone dragging. I love this. Okay, so this is like one of the most time-consuming things in Dwarf Fortress as it sits. I mean, I've had people joke to me about the fact that it's carpal tunnel bedrooms where you just like are just repeatedly doing the exact same action. I mean, you can macro it and program it to just automatically do the actions for you, but it's still like super time-consuming and incredibly cumbersome to get bedrooms done currently. So it's really, really nice to actually just see that big old click, drag, done. I'm really curious to see what other features, like maybe mining or other things, what other things are going to actually just get that click drag, because that's going to make doing things like circles and other fun shapes done way quicker than maybe even the keyboard. I know that might be like kind of crazy, but there's certain things that will be faster now with a mouse with this kind of functionality, which is wild, but also awesome. So I'm excited to see more stuff like this.
Deep down, see, we've broken into some caverns. Zach has been exploring a little bit, and I've got all kinds of gemstones and floor fungus, young tower cap mushrooms. There's some big ones in there wedged in the hallways. When the mushrooms
so nice to see the cavern layers in motion. I can't even describe this. Like it's really, really nice to just see this, because the cavern layers are notoriously complex for newer players. And if you're somebody who doesn't normally play Dwarf Fortress, I'd be really curious to know your feedback of like what exactly you think about the visuals of the cavern layers specifically, because caverns are something that notoriously screws up new players. And I'm just really curious to hear what people think of this. I think they look fantastic, but I'm curious to know your thoughts out there.
The fungiwood plants with the little bulbs on them. And deeper still we go. Zach has actually broken into quite a bit of the underground here. This is the red mossy layer right now. Color's not necessarily finalized, but it's full of all kinds of spore trees and critters, giant olms and things running around down there. Deeper still. This one's way down here. It's 94 levels below sea level. Dwarves have been very busy digging. Yeah, there's some big black mushrooms. Oops, press the old help screen for. So yes, we'll have a different help than the old ASCII version. And I got popped by manager's been possessed. Strange mood. Popped by an announcement again.
I'm just going to pause Tarn right there and just comment on the fact that we haven't actually seen much about the actual announcements screen yet, which is currently in Dwarf Fortress. But now all of the announcements are popping up in the form of those little icons over in the top left, very like Prison Architect-y or Rimworld-y, where you have little things that pop up. I wonder if there'll be I'm assuming there'll be some sort of sound effects associated with these, but they're on the top, they're on the left, all the way along the screen, and he actually goes along and deletes them all. It's really nice to kind of see that kind of being highlighted, because I don't believe we've actually seen that yet. I know we've seen it in screenshots, and we've definitely had people kind of suss out what that probably is, but it's just nice to kind of see them in action. Once again, nice UI design, guys.
Get rid of these announcements and leave it paused during the last second here, so we can just look at finish looking down at the bottom of this fortress. We've got hotkeys that we've set up to zoom to different levels, and now we're back at the bottom. And, well, look at all this stuff. Just a tangle of fungus again, and nightmarish little critters down here, little grabbing tendrils and things. But here we have some bars, metal bars. You know, there's a little stockpile down here filled with silver bars because we have a magma industry using the heat of the magma deep under the earth to do forging jobs and so forth. So, yeah, hope you had fun looking at this. There's a giant magma pool for you. And see you next time.
So here's where I'll cut back in. I'm gonna also let that music repeat in the background because goddamn, it's great. But no, seriously, it's really nice to see these updates, and it's really, really nice to kind of get these big old videos. Over the next week, I'll probably do another video, kind of finding something specific in here that I want to talk about, because there's a few things that I kind of want to go into a little bit more depth here, but I don't really want to make this like a 30-minute video. So this is kind of the most it is. Of course, you can go watch the original video down in the description and in the comments section. I will link it in both of those places, so you can go grab it if you would just like to go watch Tarn talk about Zach's Fortress. And once again, it's lovely to see these I guess quarterly updates coming out of Kit Fox. It's nice to actually see the game running. I think my biggest comment about this is, as like per usual, it's still going. Dwarf Fortress will still always throw people off, I think, a little bit because of the old school nature of it. The fact that it is still baked in as an ASCII game. The fact, that you still have like stuttery movement. I know that there have been talks about the possibility of doing some form of smoother movement animations, but I also know it's not as easy as just adding in some lines of code and making it happen. Because I talked about it with Tarn on my last interview. If you want to go watch that, you could go listen to that. But seriously, I love the way this is looking. It's looking so good, and I hope to see more of it over the next few weeks and months. And sooner rather than later, I'd like it to come out, but I hope it's done when it's done. If you want to see more of me, you can find more of me on this YouTube channel. This video is supported on Patreon. I should be live when you see it if you've watched it the day it went up. And thank you very much for watching this video. And I'll see you in the next one, or on my Twitch channel. Have a good one.
See you next time.